Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring the good news to the poor. He has sent me to comfort the brokenhearted and to proclaim that the captives will be released and the prisoners will be freed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God. Today is the 26th of October, and I called up my very good friend, Andrew Sorchini of Beverly Hills Precious Metals yesterday. We are scheduled to do an interview next week, but because of what's going on in the markets and in the world right now, I said, hey, Andrew, any possibility we can do something sooner rather than later? And he said, yes, let's do it today. It's about 11 a.m. here, California time. Those who have been watching my videos know I've been very adamant. Whether this happens or not, I've been very adamant of a possible and a high probability of a market event next week as we head into Halloween. I wanted to, give everybody an opportunity to, listen to this conversation, and Andrew can answer any questions people will have about precious metals and how to acquire them. And I don't want to make this a scare thing where people are like, oh my gosh, I have to do something like right now. This is just a report to get people to understand, there is the possibility of a big market event next week. And so if it does happen, it's advantageous to be positioned for what's about to happen. And again, it's always free will. It's personal choice. And we don't want to give you financial advice. We just want to tell you what I personally have done. Andrew can tell you. And secondly, what I see coming, and then you can make your own decisions about what you personally want to do. So sorry for the long intro, but Andrew, God bless you, and thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. And I do have to tell you that I work with many different people that I call ad partners, yourself included. And I would say about 75% of them have done new orders with us this week. We can certainly feel that something's coming. And I know that with your research and your analyzing time, that you've matched up some things that would lead us to believe that something also is happening. It's simmering. It's getting ready to happen.
If you've been watching the stock market, today it's down, the Dow's down about 200 points and it's supposed to be. So the patterns are very perfect. So I look at a couple of things when I do my analysis. One, I'll look at patterns on the charts because patterns are critical because they create a wave. So you want to look at patterns. So I do day counts and patterns. And the second thing I do is a longer term, I do time calculations. And the calculations are pointing to a historic November. So, a fun way to look at this is, God's using these people's timelines as well, too. So, they have next week what's called trick or treat, right? So the charts, believe it or not, are pointing to a massive event next week, which is not going to be good. And this is potentially, remember what happened with 9/11. When 9/11 happened, Andrew, the markets collapsed. They shut down the trading for a few days because of 9/11. And then like a week later, they opened the markets back up. But the event, the attack on the United States, caused a market crash. Now, why is this important? Because when you look at the events that are going on in the world, they're lining up with the patterns in the charts that I'm looking at. And additionally, it's also lining up beautifully with the great things that are coming in the month of November. But before November comes, there's a prophetic word of Kim Clement. They will bring this nation to its knees.
Something big is coming. That's about to hit this country and try to shake it from its foundation. Shake it, destroy it, break it, annihilate it. The ultimate fall of America. Many foreign countries have infiltrated this land, and your government allowed it. There has been a great war to bring this nation to its knees.
And people will become very afraid. I have said I will bring this nation to its knees. And God said, you have been humbled. And then you shall hear the sounds of great victory.
That hasn't happened yet. Okay? That hasn't happened yet. The United States is bought and paid for. It's a controlled entity, and they've done it with a money system. the money itself, as we've talked about on prior podcasts, think about this, Andrew. If you wanted to count to 1 million, it would take you 12 days. Okay. So that's not that, that long. Anybody can potentially do that. Now, on the other side of it, this was in the 70s, there wasn't $1 billion. So 1,000 million is a billion, 1,000 billion is a trillion. If you wanted to count to a trillion, it would take you 32,000 years. And we're not in the trillions anymore, we're in the quadrillions, which is 1,000 trillion. The money system is a complete and utter fraud. So why do I have Andrew here? Andrew can help you take your digits that are in a bank. What did I just do the other day, Andrew? When I saw all of this coming, I literally checked it down as Andrew, let's put another order in because I know it's coming. My point is, it's not hard. So take us through the steps. If someone has digits in their bank and they are maybe feeling in their heart there's something really messed up in this world, and they want to take these digits and convert them into precious metals. So let's talk first about how easy those steps are.
Well, the first step would be just to go onto our website, which is bh-pm.com. So once you're on bh-pm.com, on the homepage, there's a red button that says schedule a free consultation. You can click on that, or there's also a form right below it. The form asks you for your first name, last name, email address, how you heard about us. Most people say Bo sent me or Bo Polny. And there's a section where you could write some notes down there. And one of the things that I'm seeing happen a lot are people wanting to learn how to convert or roll over their retirement accounts, specifically 401ks and IRAs, into retirement accounts that can hold physical gold and silver. This isn't paper gold and silver, but physical gold and silver. So that's the type of information you want to put in the notes box there. So if you're a newbie and you've never bought silver before and would like to speak with someone that's very patient, then put that in there. If you buy silver all the time and want to give us a shot, put that in there. But whatever you put in there will help me get you to the right associate. So once somebody reaches out that way, we call you within 24 to 48 hours and we just do a consultation. And if you determine at that point that you would like to proceed with an investment into gold and silver and trade those digits for an actual tangible type of currency, gold or silver, we'll agree on whatever fits your what you're looking to invest. And then we'll send you an invoice. And then once you get the invoice, you can either send a wire transfer or physically mail us a check. And then once we receive that, we'll email you a paid invoice. And then once we receive that, usually within about 2 days, the order will ship. We've been getting them out here pretty quick. We've been on top of things. So that in a nutshell is how the process works.
Right. That's what I want people to understand. You might call up another dealer or any dealer. People have the choice to choose whoever they want to choose. But this is the issue with the precious metals market. First off, many people don't know what to buy. So you always want someone to kind of hold your hand a little bit if you've never done this before. Okay. And then the second thing is the most discomforting thing is there's a lot of scams out there, meaning like people literally are pretending to be me. Like there's all these like TikTok accounts and all these, like I'm not anywhere but YouTube and Twitter. That's it, right? Telegram accounts, basically, portraying to be me. There's all of this stuff, this crazy stuff going on in the world, and we find out, we try to take this stuff down, but it's not easy to take a lot of these things down. So there's a lot of scams that are people doing in the world. So the most important thing is from the day you put an order with somebody, when you send that wire, I tell you, this is the most discomforting thing that you're going to experience, because from the time you send the wire to the moment whatever you're purchasing arrives, whether it's your front door or at a storage facility or at whatever else, you're in that quandary going, I hope it all turns out. I hope it all turns out. So I'm just telling you, these are people's savings, that you don't want to lose. You want to make sure you're using a reputable person. So I didn't use Andrew years ago because I didn't know about him. But now basically I buy my precious metals from Andrew. And the cool thing is the moment I send the wire, within a very short, we're talking days sometimes, it literally arrives. So the point I'm trying to say is, you want to use somebody reputable. We're at a critical time point here. Those who have listened to my podcasts and interviews, we're in a 50-year cycle, okay? Thou shalt consecrate the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout the land. You have to understand that God's about to do something, okay? And what I mean by that is we've just seen confirmation with the Yom Kippur War. 50 years to that was literally the attack here just happened 2.5 weeks ago. And you understand that war actually came to an end today. That would be the 26th. The peace treaty was signed on November 11th. So we're at a critical mass here that something's about to go down in the world. And the chart patterns literally are screaming that there is going to be a big event setting up for next week. We just had Bitcoin break vertical. Gold and silver always follow. So I'm telling you, this is a critical moment in time. And I just want the viewers to understand, don't act out of fear, but be wise stewards. And the Bible's clear about that. And also, remember the numbers I just described? Think of the magnitude of those numbers. They're ridiculous. More importantly, when you read the Bible, Haggai 2 verse 8 states what? The silver and the gold are mine, saith the Lord. And what have I said in prior podcasts? We're not living in political times. We're living in what? Biblical times. So it's important to understand that if God's going to do something, he's going to flip the financial scales. With regards to Andrew, tell us a little bit further about precious metals with regards to spreads. If the market jumped, because we have been talking in the past about a beach day. And what I'm basically saying is silver in a single day is going to go. We're going to watch a triplicate go. So it's going to multiply by at least 3.5. It's going to go from the 20s to about $60 to $70 in a single day. Now, if that happens, what are you going to do, Andrew? And also, what's going to happen to the premiums once the market reopens?
So what will happen is that when we see an event that moves both gold and silver higher, let's use silver as an example. What happens is everybody out there is scrambling to buy the physical silver. And as much silver that's out there, it doesn't take much. It just takes a couple billionaires making large purchases, and then all the physical silver is like sold out. And people have to really start to dig deep to try to obtain more silver and source new silver that they can sell at the new price. Well, that creates a rise in the premiums. So when the demand for physical is heavy, the premiums go significantly higher. So for example, last year, it was probably around November, silver was $18.50 an ounce, and silver eagles were going for $18 per ounce over the spot price. And in all my years, which I started working in the coin business in 1985, 1 year before the Silver Eagle even came out. The first Silver Eagles were made in 1986. And I've never seen basically 100% premium over spot. And that's not our price. We just stopped selling them because I knew it would come back down. It's just when silver is not available, the premiums go higher. And that wasn't for any significant event. So it literally cost people $36.50 to get one ounce. And when what we know is coming happens, then we're going to see possible 50 or 100% gains in silver in short periods of time. Maybe 1 day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week, or even a month. That's going to make the premium soar. And the faster those premiums go up, we'll have to just sit back and say, look, we can't afford to sell any silver right now. We just have to tell people we don't have it because we don't know what to sell it for. And that's our beach day. That's where it goes up so quickly that we feel that we just have to sit back and learn what we're supposed to be selling this stuff for, and then proceed once we have that information. It's mind-blowing, but we've actually experienced it a couple times.
Right. So what you have to understand is when the markets move, see, silver is not like a stock. This is a physical thing. So it's like if in your house you have 10 pieces of silver and someone comes into your house and just buys those 10 from you, there's no more to sell. Get it? Like it's sold out. If 1%, 2% of the population knew about silver or gold even, it'd be all sold out. You can also just literally have a few billionaires step up to the plate and the same thing happens, okay? And more likely than not, it's the few billionaires are going to step up and it's all gone in a single day. So you have to understand this is a commodity that is either available or not. And once an event happens, then the spreads explode. So because everybody's willing to pay higher prices, they'll pay more just to get it in their hands. And so right now, when I put some orders in with Andrew just yesterday, the premiums are low, and he can expand upon that. But the spreads, basically, there's called a spot price, and the premium just a little bit above that, so you pay more. But what Andrew was describing was, silver was $18, but the premium was another $18, so it was $36 just to get it in your hands. And these things happen. And so when silver goes, gold goes. When gold goes, silver goes. It's a brother-sister relationship, just like Israel and the United States. No different. They're tied at the hip. It's just that when silver goes, it's the coin phrase is the silver is gold on steroids. And so gold's going to go, and silver is going to go crazy. And so I'm just telling you, one thing I want also the viewers to understand. I've done this for years now. Okay, so I study patterns. I study time. And what I will tell you is, and usually in August, there's been, historically a couple of stock crashes historically in the month of August. There's been stock crashes historically also in the month of October. Okay. So these are kind of two typical months that you'll see with stock crashes. And then there's also the perfect example. People can actually go back and research the crash of March, which we predicted a month in advance. The markets were expected to crash in March of 2020. And here's what happens. After a market crash, gold and silver go crazy because people, what they do is they want security, and they freak out because they get scared of what just happened in the markets. So everybody piles into precious metals. However, we're at a point now where this is going to go crazy because we've seen all these events. And now they've created so much money that we're at biblical time point. We're at 50 years, 50 years from abortion, 50 years from Roe v. Wade. We're 50 years from Nixon taking us off the gold standard, and the petrodollar contract was in 73. Klaus Schwab World Economic Forum, Davos Manifesto was in 73. We've got the 73 Yom Kippur War. So we were like at this incredible biblical time point. And we're just waiting for that moment in time where gold and silver just literally explode. And why I'm saying this, so we know historically stock markets crash, and right after that, and there's numerous examples of this, where gold and silver just leap vertical. They just take off. Okay, so that's a historic fact. We're living in biblical times, so that's another wild part that's never happened before. And there's such little time left. But then there's these prophetic words of, they will bring this nation to its knees. This is a Kim Clement prophecy, one of the most renowned prophets that's, been alive in our century or in our lifetime, right? And then you will hear the second part of that, and then you will hear the sound of great victory. Those who've watched my presentations also know that the calculations, the 1,260 count, the 3.5-year calculations are all pointing to November. Okay. So, and there's a very sick, disgusting time point that we're stepping into, and it's Halloween. Okay. Literally, evil's real. So is God. Both are real. And this is a historic Halloween for them. This is a very important Halloween for them. They've already got war going on in Israel. Okay, so this is a very important time point. The charts are screaming, be careful for next week. Okay, and so I wanted to have Andrew here to have really people have the ability to, to understand precious metals and what their steps are should they in their heart feel that they maybe want to do something about acquiring some precious metals, because Andrew is a great source and things are available right now. Andrew, a question for you. If people have a sizable amount of money, but they're like, well, I don't want to receive it at my house, and I want to get it, but I don't know, what I'm going to do with it when I get it. So what are the things that people can have options if they want to purchase metals, but maybe they don't want to store it at their home or bury it in the backyard? Or again, you want to be wise about, how you're going to store this. So expand upon that as well, too, please.
Yeah, we have a third-party depository option. So the depository,
and it's not a bank, right?
Yeah, it's not a bank. So that's really important, because like Bo always says, if you decide to store, like let's say you have a lockbox at a safe deposit box at the bank, and you keep your gold there. If there's a run on banks for cash, and you want to get in the line at the bank before it opens to enter the bank to get your metals out, they're not going to put you in the front of the line because you're not asking for cash. You don't have the keys to the front door, like Bo says. So it's really not a safe place to have it. But the third-party depository we use, it's not a banking institution. They're in Delaware, and it's called Delaware Depository, and we help open accounts for our clients every single day. And the fees are minimal. It's like 0.5% of the melt value of whatever you're storing there. So, for example, if you've got $100,000 worth of silver, which, Bo, it takes up a lot of space. Okay, if you have $100,000 worth of silver stored there, your fees for the year are going to be less than $500 for the year, and you pay that biannually, so it's like $250 every 6 months, and it covers insurance and even acts of God. So if something were to happen that is completely unexpected, it's insured. And to me, that's a great option. Some people live in very small condos, they're retired, or we have one lady that bought 7 figures worth of silver, and she lives in a walk-up in San Francisco across from the Golden Gate Bridge. For her, she had no way to get it to where she needs it to go in the property because it means going upstairs. So you do have that option. For people in Canada, we don't ship gold and silver to Canada because of customs issues, but you can set up a storage account here at Delaware Depository and have real physical silver that's sitting there in a box with your name on it. And if you really needed to, you could have it delivered to another place here in the United States and arrange to pick it up yourself. So it's not paper silver. But to me, this is a great option for many people.
Oh, that's wonderful. I actually never thought about that. Right. So people like from Canada can put orders in and you can handle it, no problem.
Yes, absolutely. And we store a lot of our inventory at Delaware Depository because it's as far as security goes, it's safe. Yeah, it's heavy. And it's so for IRAs, when you set up a precious metals IRA or 401k, you don't have to take delivery of, or you cannot take delivery of the gold and silver. So you set up an account over at Delaware Depository. And one great thing about the retirement accounts is that the storage account for retirement metals, gold and silver, is only $100 a year. So if you rolled over a $15,000 IRA, it's $100 a year. If you rolled over a $15 million IRA, it's still only $100 a year to store it there. And that's a special deal that we've made specifically for the retirement accounts. And to me, that's just way too good of a deal. And just commenting on stocks right now a little bit, the stocks that I sold that I used to have are down a huge percentage this week. Like it's red, very, very red if you look at all the technology stocks. So right now would be a good time to consider rolling over those retirement accounts that tend to hold stocks and just sit on the sidelines. Just go into something that's gonna hold the value, which is gold and silver, until the market can turn around. And it will, and there will be a good time to get back into stocks. It's just not now.
Yeah, and from like I even take it whole step further. Like as much as the stock market used to be great, my perspective, is at this point the stock market, because they've made so much money. I think when the truth comes out, this is kind of something that people should consider. When the truth comes out about how much money truly was created, and on a stock market crash, okay, this is the only thing that the Fed has the option to do. Look what happened in March of 2020. The markets collapsed 38%. Okay, that was first off foretold. I said that it's going to happen in February. It happened in March, exactly how it was supposed to. But the weekend of the bottom, they printed $7 trillion. They created $7 trillion, pushed it back in the stock market, and that caused a massive rally in the stock market. What do you think they're going to do this time, Andrew? Should the stock market crash next week, what are they going to do? What does history tell us?
Yeah, it'll be the thing.
Except they're probably going to not create 7 trillion, might be magnitudes greater than that to push it back in the market. And so all I know is my cycle charts that God showed me how to understand the stock market patterns show that into the end of this year, there's going to be a market crash. The probability of it is very high for next week. Okay. If it doesn't happen, we still have into December, which is when the markets could still go. Point is, anytime between now into December, we're looking at a minimum, probably 25 to 30% market crash. Could be worse, okay? But it's coming. And so when this event happens, the only thing the Fed can do is what? Create money. out of thin air. They're going to pump it back in the stock market, and the stock market will rally again. So yes, it'll go back up. But now this time around, gold and silver literally explode because of the BRICS. We got the BRICS. See, this is like a complicated issue here. Now you got the BRICS nations, and if they attack, the prophetic word is the brothers of Goliath, which are the BRICS nations, stand in glee, we will cripple you.
The giant of death, the giants that have come, the brothers of Goliath, stand in glee watching America. We will cripple you. You will lose your credit.
So if the BRICS nations cripple the United States dollar in the credit system, okay, that will cause the dollar to lose its status as the world reserve currency. And this is already prophesied. So this is going to happen. The dollar will lose its status as the world reserve currency. So the stock market can then rally, maybe the Dow might even go to 100,000. But it's going to be valued in a dollar that's no longer the world reserve currency. So this is so important to consider. No one's going to want the dollar. So the Dow could be at 100,000, but if you need to sell the Dow or any stock in it, you're going to sell it into a dollar that's no longer the world reserve currency. But the real money is gold and silver, but you're going to have a huge problem. So you might sell the Dow. You go, hey, I've got X amount of large digits in my bank. But here's a problem you got. You call up Andrew and say, Andrew, I want to take 100,000 I just made, and I want to buy silver or gold. And Andrew's going to say, I don't have any. Or Andrew might say, yeah, I can get you, a couple ounces of gold because gold's $50,000 an ounce. You see what happens when the world realizes the dollar's a fraud, it loses its status as the world reserve currency. You'll still be able to buy precious metals in the future, but the prices are going to be exorbitant because why? The world reserve currency is no longer the world reserve currency. And so it's going to be historic days ahead. This is the fall of Mystery Babylon that's written in Revelation. And again, no one knows the day this is going to happen, but it's the chart patterns right now are screaming. Watch next week for the markets. So this is just a stock market issue. The second issue is the US dollar itself. And Andrew, if the dollar lost its status as the world's reserve currency, what do you think would happen to price, your ability to acquire it, your ability to sell it, like the whole gamut of and so now the dollar just lost its status as the world reserve currency. People are calling you and saying, I want silver, I want gold. What do you think your inventory is going to be like? What do you think the prices will be like? What do you think is happening around you?
Well, if or when that happens, our inventory is going to be gone in about a day or two. That's all it would take. I mean, we've got an 8-figure inventory that we own, but it would just take a day or two for it to be gone. And it's mind blowing because for people out there that just to break it down even more, the dollar has been the world's reserve currency for a long time. So other countries trade in the dollar. Before Russia would do trades with China in the dollar. Now they're using their own currency, or possibly even the new BRICS now system, which is a token type cryptocurrency type system where they can transfer funds 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But if the dollar is unseated as the world's reserve currency, then if you think about it, if gold went to $5,000 an ounce and you go, great, I bought mine at just under 2,000 and I've got a lot of it. So do I sell it? If you sell it, what are you selling it for? You're selling it for something worth.
Expand on that, because that's the essence of this. If the dollar, what are you going to sell it into?
Yeah. So if the dollar is unseated as a world reserve currency, and that sends gold to say $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 an ounce, and you go, great, I've made a great investment. Now it's time to sell and capitalize on that investment. But you would be parting with the only real currency out there, the only thing that's that's worth its weight in gold, and you can't sell it for dollars if dollars are losing value. You don't want to sell it for yuan. You don't want to sell it for the Russian currency. So you find yourself in a little quagmire there. And it's, I would just keep it, because from there, it could moonshot on up to $10, $20, $30, $50,000 an ounce.
Thank you. You actually explained it beautifully, because what would you sell it into. And this again is, now let's tie in prophecy to this, okay? Because what did Kim Clement say, right? They will bring this nation to its knees, then you will hear the sound of great victory. And then furthermore, he talked about my David, right? And my David will raise what? A simple stone. Remember the word gold.
And he will take a simple stone and he will hold it up and they will laugh at him. But the plan is so brilliant, says the Lord. It could only have been given by me.
There's two things to comprehend about money here. There's the Federal Reserve System, okay? And then there's a Treasury. They're not hand in hand the same. The Federal Reserve System is a bunch of private bankers, and this goes back to 1913, okay? This is like history. And so they're not federal, they're not a reserve, and so they create to control the money supply. And what did was it Rothschild say? Allow me to control the money supply, and I care not who makes its laws. Well, we've kind of seen that happening, haven't we, right? And so now they've taken the money supply from millions, billions, trillions to quadrillions. This is the Federal Reserve, okay? Point I'm trying to make is, and these are the people that are trying to bring on the central bank digital currency, because there's so much digits they've created, there's not enough trees in the world to allocate to make the paper for the amount of digits that are literally created, okay? So you have to understand this. Now, if God intervenes, he's going to attack what? The Federal Reserve System, the bankers. What did God say? What's written in the Bible? The love of money is the root of all evil. What have the Federal Reserve been doing? Loving it, controlling humanity. Now, the other side of the coin is the Treasury. Okay. So if we see return to the gold standard, which we will, when this happens, the Treasury will back precious metals, the new paper system, with precious metals. And that's back to the gold standard, undoing what Nixon did in 71. So this is how you need to understand the financial system, because if you own precious metals today, if you have them today, or if you reach out to Andrew, you pick up precious metals. However this plays out, no one knows all the mechanics of this, but however this plays out, when the new money system comes online, you're in. I'm going to repeat that. When the new money system comes in, it'll be backed by gold and silver. You're in today because you own precious metals. And so it's been prophesied that the way we transact is about to change forever. All of this is coming down the pipeline. And I believe it starts next week with a market collapse. Then it's going to lead to a secondary event in November into the first quarter of next year, which is a collapse of the fiat money system, specifically the US dollar. And all of this needs to be fixed because there's billions of people on this planet, so we still need to transact. It's just that there's going to need to be a solution. There's going to be someone that needs to come up with a new money system, and it will happen. It will happen. And so by owning precious metals, you're already in the new system. And however the cards fall and plays out, when we return to the gold standard, this sounds crazy, but we're going to, I know it sounds crazy, but so did the war that happened. So did overturning of Roe v. Wade that happened. See, all of this sounds crazy, and it sounds impossible, but God makes the impossible possible. So I wanted to be here with Andrew to give the world like a last minute type of a heads up. Do with this information what you choose. It's not for me to tell anybody what to do, but I personally, what did I do a couple of days ago, Andrew? I called you up and said what?
You said you're ready to add more silver, and your timing's always impeccable. So yes, it's and Bo did add more silver.
Yeah. So I'm just telling you, so, whether you want to do something, whether you feel you need to do something, share this video with your friends, with your family members. I get a lot of emails. Hey, like, I know what you're saying. And this is the wife, texting me, writing me, and my husband just doesn't believe, so go through the concept of flipping your money from one money source to another money source and then back again.
Okay, so one thing about Beverly Hills Precious Metals is that we actually we buy gold and silver every single day. So when you make an investment into gold and silver, it's not like you just went out and bought a brand new Ferrari or a new living room set. This isn't a purchase. This is a conversion of green currency into silver or gold currency. And Bo always has the best example. So let's say you're going to Europe for 2 weeks, and you say, "Great, I'm going to take the dollars that I have. I'm going to go to one of the exchange places and exchange it for euros." And you spend euros for 2 weeks. You've got a little bit left. It's time to go back home, and you just go back and you convert them back into dollars. Well, that's how easy it is to convert gold and silver back into greenbacks if you need it. So in the midst of all this change that we have with currencies, it's for right now, today, we still use dollars, and you're going to need some dollars, but I don't want to get caught with too many dollars when everything that we know that's coming comes. And one thing that Bo said today that I think is really great, we're probably going to a gold-backed currency of some sort. So owning gold and silver can't be bad when that happens. It's impossible for it to not be good for you if that happens or when that happens. So this is an insurance policy. This is a safe bet, and you can convert it back into dollars anytime you need to.
Exactly. And owning gold and silver is nothing but an insurance policy. About in regards to the policymakers, that's really what you're insuring your financial position, your family's financial position against the policymakers. Look what's going on in the world. If you're not a little concerned what's going on in the world, that's okay. You know, everybody's got free will. If you think what's going on in the world is normal, that's okay too. But if you turn your TV on, you literally see what they're doing with first off, it was Ukraine. Now we see what's going on in Israel. And then, we're seeing all this stuff, military movement right now. If you're not concerned, and every time there's been a military conflict, particularly involving anything in the United States, you immediately see about $100 gold spike immediately. Okay. This has happened. Okay. The first time it hasn't happened is just what happened 2-3 weeks ago, where with Israel war, gold goes up like, I think $20. Okay. So it's just showing you that the price manipulators are working gangbusters full time to suppress the precious metals. But when God intervenes, I'm telling you, we're in a 50-year Jubilee cycle. God's not going to be mocked. We're heading into Thanksgiving here. Okay. And Thanksgiving is a very important time point. For what a man soweth, thus shall he reap. So November is going to be very, very powerful, very important. Next week could be scary. So we're at a wild time point in the world. And, people just need to maybe listen to this podcast a couple of times and just make some personal decisions about what they want to do. But again, in closing, owning precious metals, converting your digits in the bank into physical is nothing more than going on a trip and converting your physical digits into some other paper currency of another country. You can always convert backwards. This is not like you got to go find a buyer. There's any coin shop will immediately buy any precious metals you have and immediately give you, whether it's currency or check, whatever, immediately. So there's always a buyer immediately for anything that you have regards to precious metals. Andrew himself, if it's small or larger, he'll literally take care of it for you very, very quickly. So, Andrew, any closing words that you have? And also, how can people reach you? Again, repeat that. Best people can reach you. Any comments they should write in, and anything else that you wanted to add before we close out?
So again, to reach us, you would go to bh-pm.com and fill out the online form there. And definitely inquire about the retirement accounts, because for people that are approaching retirement age, we're at the brink of a stock market correction. And these corrections, the stocks always come back stronger than before the crash, but that takes years. And some of you might feel that you don't have years to wait for your dollars to come back. So there's no reason for you to sit in stocks and go through this. You can park your investment, your retirement, into gold and silver and have it be a non-taxable event. Definitely reach out to us and let us explain to you how that can work. But just in closing, there's right now is a great time because the herd is not coming toward gold and silver. We're just a select few that are woke enough to understand that this is what we need to do. But when these other events happen, if Israel and what's going on there escalates, when other countries step in, then we're just going to really see the gold and silver that's available start to diminish, and the wait times to receive it are going to take longer. The premiums are going to be higher, And there's going to be a lot of scammers out there. So definitely reach out to someone that's vouched by somebody like Bo Polny that you know and believe in, and at least give us a shot to explain it to you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andrew. God bless you and your wife and your team for being here. Thank you for everything that you've done, and are doing right now. And in closing, God bless everybody for listening to this presentation. Fear not, like my friend Greg Hunter always says, fear not. God the Father is in complete control. Jesus Christ is in charge of what's going on in this world, and there's no fear, because evil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And Jesus comes to give you life more abundantly. So again, this is not a message of fear. This is just a message as a steward for people to pay attention to what's going on in the world. And I personally truly believe we're at a cusp of something big going down, potentially starting next week. That leads us into November and then into December. So historic changes are upon us into year end. And if you feel in your heart that, you want to do something you have the first ability financially to do something for yourself or your family, and you've not known how to do it, well, I'll put the links below how you can reach Andrew and take it from there. But again, all of this is about free will. Choose wisely. So God bless everybody. Thank you, Andrew, for being here.
Many foreign countries have infiltrated this land, and your government allowed it. There has been a great war to bring this nation to its knees.
People will become very afraid. I have said I will bring this nation to its knees. And God said, you have been humbled. And then you shall hear the sounds of great victory.
Beverly Hills Precious Metals Exchange is a client-focused firm devoted to assisting our clients with precious metals. Our clients range from first-time to serious coin collectors and investors seeking to add precious metals to their investment portfolios. We are not interested in volatile investments, leveraged products, and intangible assets. With rising inflation and the devaluing of the dollar hurting middle-class families, investing in gold and silver ensures protection for your hard-earned money. Save the value of your money today by investing in gold and silver at Beverly Hills Precious Metals.